Hey everybody. In this video I wanted to talk about two things that may not seem related. The first is the Freedom Convoy. The second is the Great Reset. Now, I know a lot of you are probably asking yourselves, what do these things have in common? What could possibly connect these two things? And I'll get to that in a minute. But the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the Freedom Convoy. A couple of days ago, the organizers put out a video. It was about an hour long. It was what they called a preemptive SOS in response to what they believed was going to be some possible police action. Now, they stressed multiple times during the video that they did not want any kind of violence. They would not resist, and they didn't encourage or condone any kind of violence. But they were making a stand for what they believed. And they also stressed how that there were several times that they had gone to the politicians or reached out to the politicians in Ottawa and were all but begging for the politicians to sit down at a table with them so they could discuss their concerns and their side of the situation, their point of view. According to the organizers, all of that attempt to sit down and have a discussion was being met with either a refusal or just being ignored outright. Now, the reason they recorded the preemptive SOS, as they called it, was because they were getting reports and they were being told about memos that were going around where the government was making moves to call in additional police, additional law enforcement to the protest. This was taking place while they were actually asking for somebody to sit down and talk with them. They said there's no reason to be bringing in more police. They're not violent. They're not making a mess of anything. They just want to sit down and talk about their concerns. But instead of the politicians doing that, they were making moves to bring in more law enforcement. And they were, the organizers of the convoy were expecting within a matter of days the possibility of police moving in on them and initiating some arrests. Now, that's one update. Another thing that I wanted to talk about in regards to the Freedom Convoy was the Gofundme issue. Now, they had raised somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 million Canadian, which is about 8 or so million US. That, and it's, what I'm getting is a little confusing. I've heard multiple reports that at first GoFundMe didn't want to release any of the money. Then they started releasing it in small batches. Then they stopped releasing it and didn't want to release any more. And then they stopped allowing people to donate. And then they wanted to do refunds to the donors because they were saying, from what I've been hearing, that GoFundMe can't support any illegal activity, which coincidentally, they had no issues allowing any of the fundraising for the BLM and Antifa riots that burned multiple cities a year ago. They have no problem supporting that, but they can't support this. So obviously they're biased. You know, if you had any doubts about that, you can set that aside. But now, instead of using GoFundMe, there's been an alternate donation site used called Give Send Go, I believe is the name of it. And they've already reached donations equal to that of what was originally donated to GoFundMe. That's the intel that I've got on that so far. I've also heard that 4 states, Florida, Texas, West Virginia, and I can't remember the 4th one offhand, are initiating investigations into investigations into GoFundMe for deceptive practices. So there is that, and it wouldn't surprise me if there more states stepped in on that. So those are the 2 things with that. Now, in regards to the Great Reset, anybody that's been following that already knows, but just to give a brief overview, and I'm talking real brief, I don't want to go into a lot of detail. It's being pushed by globalists as the Great Reset. You won't own anything. There's going to be digital currency. You won't be allowed to own anything, and you'll be happy about it. Coinciding with the Great Reset and the digital currency, they're pushing plant-based meats, and I've seen some reports of bug-based meats as an alternative to livestock, animal-based products. Because from what I can gather, livestock, agriculture, they want to move all of society globally away from animal-based food products, with a focus on plant-based and bug-based. So there's that. Now, you're probably asking, what does the Freedom Convoy have to do with the Great Reset? Well, to put it simply, the Great Reset is all about a digital currency. And there's a push globally, but also here in the United States, to eliminate cash and go to a complete digital currency. This will do 2 things. This will allow them to essentially wipe out the debt that they've built up, and we're at like $30 trillion in debt right now. But it'll allow them to wipe that out and start over fresh, but it'll also give them the added benefit of being able to track every single thing you do, buy or sell. They can tax you more efficiently, get more money out of you, and they'll be able to trace what your activity is doing. And where it comes in with the Freedom Convoy, just bear with me on this, GoFundMe essentially supported BLM and Antifa during their riots, when they were burning cities, when they were killing people, when they were assaulting people, when they were looting. They were allowing donations to be collected and paid out to bail these people out of jail. They had no problem with the violence of those people. However, when there was a peaceful protest like the Freedom Convoy, all of a sudden they can't support that type of illegal activity. Here's the thing, this is what it boils down to. They're playing partisan politics. The company is choosing one side over the other, rather than trying to stay neutral and just focusing on their business of collecting and providing a donations platform for people. They're playing politics with their service. So this is okay, but this over here is not. This tells you what will happen if there is a full-on digital currency, no cash currency after the Great Reset. If they don't like something that you're doing, they can simply withhold your money. If they don't like what you're buying, they can freeze your money. If they don't like what you believe, or how you look, or where you live, they can do this for any number of reasons. They can freeze your money. You won't be able to buy food. You won't be able to buy any of the things that you need. You won't be able to pay any of your bills. this is really important that you understand what kind of control that this can give them. They can literally control you and keep you from getting the things that you need to survive if they don't like something you say or do, or if they don't like what political party you belong to. This is very concerning and very troubling, and you need to be aware of it. You need to pay attention to this kind of stuff. This is not necessarily about, okay, I support this protest over this protest. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't mind. I have no problem with anybody protesting anything so long as it's done the right way. The Freedom Convoy, I've seen no evidence of any kind of violence from those people. I believe in what they're doing. I believe in the way they're doing it, and I fully support them. I don't believe in racism. I want to get that flat out right now. I want to get that straight. I don't believe in racism, and I believe everybody should be treated equal regardless of their religion or their race or where they're from. But when you go around assaulting people, burning their homes, burning their businesses, or occupying government buildings, in the case of BLM and Antifa, they did that. Nothing was done about it. I mean, sure, some of them were arrested, but most of them were released. But then you look at what happened on the right with January 6th, a lot of those people were being held without bail, without access to attorneys or health care, in horrible conditions, and basically just thrown in a hole until they confessed and pled guilty. So there's a double standard there. Now, I don't care if you protest one way or the other. That's your right. I have no problem with that. But on the left, they were burning cities. On the right, over here with the Freedom Convoy, that's not happening. So this is being used to play politics. And a digital currency will allow them to punish or control whichever party that they don't like, whichever group they don't like. And it can be used in any different way. Right now, it's being focused mainly towards anybody on the right, in the conservative leaning groups. But this can be used for anybody. There's nothing stopping them from singling out anybody based on their race or their religion. And that's a very dangerous thing. Very dangerous. Because when there's no equality, when there's a double standard, one side is treated one way and another side is treated completely different, that's bad news, folks. So, this is coming whether you want it to or not. The Great Reset is coming. The digital currency is coming. How soon it will get here, I don't know. How long we'll be allowed to continue to have cash and use it, I don't know that either. What I can tell you is your best defense against this: produce your own food. The best ways you can prepare for this: produce your own food, or as much of it as you possibly can. That includes livestock if you have any way of doing it. Grow your garden, have livestock, rabbits, chickens, ducks, geese, anything you can to produce your own food. Hunt if you can. If that's your thing, go for it. But you've got to produce as much as your food as you possibly can, and be stocking it away. Don't just produce it what you're going to eat at that moment. Produce enough that you can can it, freeze it, dehydrate it, all of that. Those are all things that you need to be doing right now. We're entering growing season, so now's the time to get started. Aside from that, another thing that you can do is build a network of people around you, people that produce food. Like, find somebody that raises cattle or find somebody that raises rabbits. If you don't want to do it yourself, find somebody that does that. Create a network with the people around you, the people in your community. People that you can go to and you can work out barter arrangements. Skills and trade for this. Or a product in exchange for this product. You know, barter and trade, that's going to be one of your best options for avoiding the kind of control that they're going to try to exert with this great reset. So you've got produce your own food, store as much of your own food, create a network that you can barter with. People you know, people you can trust. And I would strongly suggest, I know there's a lot of people in the prepping community that don't believe in it, but I would strongly suggest you stack silver, whether it's silver rounds or if it's what's referred to as the junk silver, the pre-64 90% silver coins, or gold, assuming you can afford it. That's out of my wheelhouse right there. But I can stack silver, and I'm stacking it every possible chance I get. But these are things that you can do, and these are your best tools for avoiding the controls that will be placed upon you when the time comes. All right, that's all I've got for right now, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And I'll catch you guys later. Take care.